Hello, welcome to What the Craft. I'm Marie, an American expat living in Portugal. I'm addicted to crafting, and these are my weekly updates. This week, we are in Ireland, and I'm filming from the very sunny Dublin. Since I went a little Flaithiúlach, as they say here in Ireland, on fabric shopping last week, I decided I'd give myself a list of things that I'm allowed to buy should I come across them while we're here. One of them does not include wool, like no yarn at all. So I'm going to do that by not going into any yarn shops. However, here's my list. I have the pattern for Rob's hoodie, which I have located at a haberdashery store in Cork. We'll be there in a couple days. I'm allowed to buy some Dylon machine dye pods, two in pink, one in purple. Should I find those? 2.5 meters of fine Irish linen. Should I find a bold color? I want to make some pants. 2 meters of plaid flannel so I can make myself a shirt. Should I find some flannel that I actually like? Other than that, things that are always on my list of things that I am allowed to buy, should I find them, is Swedish tracing paper and then Merchant and Mills pins, which I haven't seen in person yet, but supposedly they're great for sewing. Do you think it'll happen? Actually, wait. No, one other thing I have to add to the list is extendable cable for my knitting. I did bring one knitting project, but the cable is too short and it's giving me cramps trying to knit this one hat. So, and this hat is from from the kit that I got. It was actually just a ball and a pom pom. It's this one, and this is the pom pom it came with. But yeah, I'm allowed to buy one extension cable, and hopefully I can get in and out of yarn shop with that cable and not buy any other yarn. As for going Flaithiúlach on the fabric shopping, I made a video of that. Okay, so you're probably wondering how I lost self-control and bought 30 meters of fabric, but more importantly, how I justified it after being pretty good about only buying fabric when I needed it, in quotes. How it happened. Originally, I bought Rob this fabric to make him some joggers for Christmas. However, I ran out of time, and I asked him on Christmas if he wanted a pair of joggers or something else. He said he wanted a hoodie. Great. However, he wanted it to have elbow pads and a lined hood in a contrasting color. I asked him what color he wanted, and he said something bold, like gold or orange or wine or even cobalt blue. I checked the local fabric stores. There are 5 in my neighborhood, luckily for me. However, none of them had anything quite like that. I've definitely had a hard time finding t-shirt fabric in my neighborhood or in Lisbon in general. So I sent him a link to a fabric store in the Netherlands. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. This is the name. And he picked a gold color. However, it was out of stock. So instead, he picked a gray color, which wasn't bold, but okay, fine. So then I started putting things in my cart to finish the hoodie, which included t-shirt fabric, gray, ribbing for both the cuff and the waistband, a separating zipper, and then some of this to make both the ties for the hood and to hide some of the raw edges in the hood. This cost me about 48 euros, so almost 50 euros. And with the fabric that I bought, plus I had to buy 4 spools of thread for the serger, all of that cost me almost 90 euros. And at this point, I haven't actually bought the pattern. So I decided while I was on the site, I would buy some fabric to do a lightweight toile of the hoodie, just to make sure it fit. That was going to be another 2.5 meters of fabric. So then I couldn't decide what color, and And of course, I was going to make the toile without a zipper, without the cuffs. So just t-shirt, something you can wear around the house, almost like a hooded cardigan. I saw that they had 10-meter surprise boxes, solid colors, 1 meter of each color, Eco Tech certified. And I thought, great, because I've always had a hard time finding t-shirt fabric here in Lisbon, I could use that to not only toile his hoodie, but, toile some other things that I have on my to-do list of things that I want to make. When I have toiled t-shirts in the past, I've bought stuff in the lines of anywhere from €7 to €15 per yard, per meter. So the surprise boxes were $6.50 a meter, and I was like, great, I'll just stick that in the cart. And that was going to be €65. So if I bought 2.5 meters, it was going to cost 30. So we're still talking like twice the amount of cost, but 4 times more fabric. Yay. Then I realized it was going to be $12.95 for shipping, regardless of how much I bought. I had that same problem with activewear. I will buy a 10-meter surprise box of Lycra so that I can toile some of my activewear. I do work out every day. Great. Put that in the cart. Then I was also feeling like I was having a hard time finding towel fabric to make the hair wraps that I've been making for my friends. Here in Portugal, it's really hard to do laundry because most of us have the 2-for-1 dryers. And if you wash and dry a regular towel, it's just kind of a nightmare. I actually take all of my towels to be dried at the laundromat. So I wash them here, run them over to the laundromat. At the age of 52, I did not expect myself to be going to the laundromat. Anyhow, I started making hair turbans for people to dry their hair, and also had a hard time sourcing that type of fabric here too. So I bought 10 meters of that as well. Let me show you what I got. So for each meter, I can usually get about 4 hair drying towels. And here in Portugal, I have found a couple places where you can get the hair drying turbans, but they've been 90% or 100% polyester. Whereas this fabric is, I think 80% cotton, and it's Ecotex certified. So there you go. Was that a good justification? Probably not, but there you go. That's what happened. All right, I'm going to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching. Put in the comments below if you think I'm going to be successful in sticking to my list. But in the meantime, craft on.